Writing content in Sanity Studio has always been quite easy, but writing content from your apps and posting it into Sanity Studio has always required a little extra finesse. Or actually, more correctly, writing content in your application, sending it into the content lake, which then makes it visible in the studio. So what has been most difficult with this is writing portable text, because the portable text editor was always confined to the Studio application, but now, excitingly, we have the portable text editor for React. This is the documentation that we've just recently released for it. And yeah, this editor is a React component that you're in full control of. Not just this editing pane here, but all of the buttons you render how you like as individual components, and the behavior of those buttons, and the behavior of just actions that you might take when you type. So like what happens if I've got this selected and I press B? Of course, that's going to bold that text, but you can think of, well, what should happen if I start a line with a slash? Should that open up a pop-up that I can then select something? If I start with a colon, should that start an emoji picker? And all of these behaviors and things are written into the docs, and you can explore those for yourself. This is extremely low level, this package, so you'll have to write a number of those things, but I'm sure over time there'll be a lot of those sorts of behaviors common. What you see is what you get: editor affordances and behaviors that you might expect. They'll get built out into a library. There's already some really great ones, including what happens when I've got text selected and I've got a URL in the clipboard. So here I'll copy that URL and paste over the top. It can just immediately turn it into a link. That's behavior that I love. It's a lot of other editors do that. You can just add that in because that's behavior that's configurable. And it's so really amazing to be able to style this at a really granular level as well. Here is a heading. This whole demo here, it's written in Vite, and I'm using Tailwind CSS to style all of this. I'm just using their headless UI library to style all these buttons, and I'm actually just got the Tailwind Typography Pros class on this div here, and that's giving me all the style for the rich text. So that's really cool, and you just get that really low-level access to all these things, which is really, really exciting. But what I wanted to look at today is writing comments from a front-end blog and having them written into Sanity Studio, but being able to write comments as portable text, because that's not been possible before. So also going to have a look at the use optimistic hook, which we can use in React 19, because I've got a Next.js 15 blog that I've got to use here, and that's the Radiant blog template. This is available in Tailwind UI, and this is one that we got to collaborate with Tailwind recently, a few months back, to launch this with the Sanity Studio and some dummy data inbuilt. And so I'll show extending this. It is still currently, at this time, still in Next.js 14, but it is a very easy thing to upgrade. And then I've grabbed some components. So to render these comments in Tailwind UI, there's some nice examples like this to be able to render those comments. So I've got some of these things already in my demo, and let's go and have a look at what we've got. So here is the Radiant blog running locally, as I said, upgraded to Next.js 15. And down the bottom here, I've added just a comment form, and I've added a comment here as well. So what do we need to do first? If you just got the Radiant template or you had a basic Next.js 15 site, what would you need to do? So the first thing I want to do is go and open up the Studio. In this application, the Studio is embedded into the Next.js 15 app. You might have a separate Studio. That really doesn't matter. And these are the three schema types that come with that example. So let's go and open up a comment type document. This is an extra document that I've added to the Studio first, because we need to be able to store these as document types, this comment. And let's consider the structure of this content. I want to store the person's name. I want to store their email. I want to store their comment currently as text. And I'm going to show first the current state before we had the portable text editor. How would you typically do this? You just render plain text. And so here I've got a text, and then I've got a reference to a post type document. And it's because I want to write a comment as an individual document, but then have a reference as this is the comment this is the post that comment was written about. So I've created this comment type document here, but it's not showing yet because we need to register it to the schema. So here's my schema file, and I just had it commented out for now. It's probably still not going to show up in that structure file yet because I need to actually fix that import first. Let's import that comment type. And then over in our structure, I'm going to add comment type documents to my desk structure and clear this error. And there, now we have comment documents in the Studio. And here's this existing comment that I already had created. So we can see here, I've got the person's name that wrote the comment, I've got their email address, I have the comment as a string here, and the post that it's referenced to. So this is the post that that comment was made on. You'll notice that the entire document I've marked as read-only. This is just a decision that I've made in the creation of this, is that these documents aren't intended to be edited by users in the studio. They are really read-only here. And you can do that at the document level. There's a case you could make here that those fields should be individually read-only, and perhaps there's a field for like the status of the comment. Is it been marked as spam? Is it approved? So maybe if you had user authentication, those comments might only be visible to logged in users if they are their own comments until they are approved. But that's a whole state machine of logic that I don't want to get into in this particular video. So let's go and test that this works. I'm going to go back to my front end here and show how this is being rendered. So in our slug page, so this is the route for creating individual posts. It's a huge file. Let's go down to the bottom of the article that's rendering all the portable text. And now I've got my comments. So actually, first, what we should really look at is what was the query for getting this post. Here's my grok query for getting that post, which looked like this: get just one post that matches a type post and has the same slug as the current slug of the URL being visited. Get all of these fields from the post. But then I also want to get the comments that match this post. So this is all of the comment type documents where that post reference equals the ID of this particular post. Order it by the created date. And this is important for our optimistic UI because I want to make sure that we're always getting ordered data from the server, and we can also make sure that we are ordering data on the client as well. And just retrieve these particular elements of that as well. So this is what we're querying, and this is that comment being rendered now in our front end. So I've created this comments component here, which is going to receive those comments and the ID of the current document, and that's just for some of the mutation that's going to take place. So here's the comments file that I've created so far. According to the Use Optimistic docs page on React's docs, I was interested to see that if we've got a server action, we need to actually track with this use optimistic hook and a use state field. I'm prepared to be wrong about this, but that's what the example does. It tracks the optimistic messages, and then at the end of the optimistic message, it then updates this state also, which was a surprise to me, but that's how it's documented. So that's what I'm doing. So here's my state of my comments. I'm passing in the props. So the query response that we got back from Sanity is going to be my initial state, those comments. And then I've got a hook for my optimistic comments. So that is, first of all, going to be the comments that came back from the server, but I'm just going to, for the sake of appeasing TypeScript, make sure that now client side, we're always getting this sending value as well. I wanted to be really clear that this sending key isn't something that we're putting on the document in Sanity. It's only on our optimistic comment here. So this is my type for an optimistic comment. It's the comment as it came from the server, but has a sending Boolean as well. So my initial state is that comments state, but with sending appended to them all. And then for some reason, I was getting errors with having multiple of the same document in this response. The use optimistic hook, you get those optimistic comments, that array, and then you have a function that adds a new element. And so this is my function that's going to add a new element. I'm going to take the existing state, but not with the ID of the current one. That feels unnecessary. There's something wrong. I couldn't figure it out. I wanted to create this video. Someone correct me in the comments. And then here's my new comment. I'm just going to add that to all the details of the comment. That is everything being filled out in this form here. And then append sending true, because this is the optimistic update, and we can style that one differently in the front end. Now, here's my function that's going to be attached to the form to write the comment. I'm just extracting all of the values here from that form that is being written. There is one hidden field, document ID, because we'll need that when we create the document to add that as the reference. I'm using Zod to pass the structure of what we have. This is overkill for this demo, but it was a nice way to at least enforce that these values are what they are. I'm passing and validating that what I have received from the user who has entered that text matches this structure that I need. So this is effectively the structure of my new Sanity document that I'm about to create. I am updating the front end optimistically. So this is where we are saying this is the new in-client state of things. So that happens immediately, but then in the background, we can start firing off this function, which I'll show in a moment, add comment. That's where it's going to send that to Sanity. And then once that has completed, then I can update the idle state, which is that top level state of those comments. Again, the combination of the optimistic and state surprised me, but here we are. Add comment, let's go and have a look at that function quickly too. That's just a authenticated Sanity client with write permissions is going to create the document that we have passed along to it. And that again is that document created by this form here. So now I'm rendering that form. Here's my timeline of comments, which is just all of those comments there. So as they're received, they'll be rendered in that timeline. And now here's my form that has this nice action, this React 19 fanciness, where I can pass an action to this capital F form here. I have a hidden field for document ID because it's important to know the existing document ID, so I can add that reference to the new document. Take a name, take email, take comment. Again, this is the current state of things. You'd have to use a text area. All these form elements, these stylings come from Headless UI, which is great. And then I've got post comment. So this should all work. I can say that this is my comment, and I'm going to say this is a great job. And click post comment. And we can see how that optimistic UI has updated immediately. It was faded there for a moment because I've got it set there. If sending is set to true, it is going to be 50% opacity. And now if I jump over to the studio, I can see that I have my comments here, and here's my new comment. This is a great job. I've got an error. That's great. That's not helpful, Next.js. All right, let's give that a hard reload and see what happens. So this is the state of things as it's always been. You've always been able to do this, but what you haven't been able to do is, instead of writing this string, what if we wanted to add bold and italics and links, or even whatever sort of rich text you want from our application and have that sent through to Sanity? Now we can do that. So let's take this state of things and make it ready for portable text. I'm going to need to take a number of actions here, and it's going to mess up some of this existing data. Fortunately, I've only got 2 documents. If you needed to mutate many documents, you can do that with the Sanity migration tooling in the CLI, which is really great. I'm probably not going to do that for now. And I know there's a recipe to convert strings into portable text, so you'll be able to find that in the documentation. Let's go back to our comment type. I'm going to change this comment from text to block content. Block content is a type that I already have in the Sanity Studio configuration here, where it's an array type field with a type of block. As soon as you have an array type field and one of the types in the array is a block type, it will render the portable text editor instead of the typical array field. So that's what it takes to create a portable text editor in the Studio. We can see here immediately I've got a problem here because it's expecting a string. I'm just going to reset the value here just to show that, yes, you get the portable text editor here, which I can activate, but I can't author into because the document is read-only. So now the Studio is ready to render portable text within the portable text editor, even if we're not going to author content there, but at least we've got a destination to receive portable text. I'm going to need also to change this text area here to the portable text area. So I'm just going to comment that out for now. And I have prepared earlier a portable text editor. And let's go and have a look at this portable text editor. Here we have a value setting where we need to track the current state of that portable text editor. And because we'll need to send this along in a form, I've just got a hidden field here, and I'm going to render that value just hidden into the form with a stringified version of the current value, because you've got an array of objects. You can't send that over. We do need to stringify that value. And then we've got all the components, which if you have a look at the portable text documentation, you'll see these. You need a provider, you need an event listener, because that's going to update that current state. I'm going to hide the toolbar for now, just so you don't see that. And then I've got this portable text editable here. And if I remove all of the settings off this, let's go back and have a look at what we get the default experience on our comment form. And so now you can see here, I have no styling at all. I do have an input box and input box, which I can type into, but it's not styled in the way that I need. So let's go back and change this. I'm going to give this just some Tailwind styles, and I've just taken those same class names that we had on the other inputs. So it just looks like those as well. I've had to make a few small changes just because we don't track focus in the same way on this, but there we go. Now this looks like all of the other inputs, and I can tab between them there, which is nice. And we can determine how the annotations and blocks get rendered as well. So I do need to import these again. And so all this is saying is when you come across a block, which is each individual block, render it like this. When you come across an annotation, render it how you like. If you want to come across a decorator, render it like this as well. So there's names for all of these things, which again, go into the documentation if you want to learn more. But essentially, you get to choose how everything gets rendered. And this has always been true also with the portable text React well, the standard of rendering into anything, and particularly the portable text React renderer, if you've used it before, is that you're in control of serializing over every individual value in that document. You get to choose what React components end up being rendered in it. So here, when we come across bold text or strong text, this is the element that gets rendered with these particular class names. So it marries really, really well with Tailwind as well. So now I've got all of these rendering, and I should be able to do rich text. So here I've just used keyboard shortcuts to be able to render those elements and to be able to format that text, but that's not really useful as it currently is. Let's render a toolbar here. So I've got my toolbar already prepared and I've imported that. Let's open that one up. And we can see here, I've created a set of buttons for every decorator and a button for every annotation, which there's only currently one. I really actually should have shown the schema. So just like Sanity Studio has a schema, Portable Text Editor expects a schema as well. So you are essentially telling it what sorts of styles are available. So the only style I want to have here is normal. I don't want to include headings and things. It's not really necessary for this demo, but I do want bold and italic as decorators, and I do want this sort of a link as an annotation here as well. And so that's all I really need to be able to start adding these things. So this is the schema that portable text editor has, and here are the buttons that make all of this possible. So now I can unbold this and I can unitalicize this, and what's really cool is being able to go in, and when you are creating buttons like this, you get to determine, is this the active decorator? Yes or no. And again, you'll learn all of these things when you're diving into the documentation. I'm not sort of giving a granular lesson on how to configure Portable Text Editor at the moment, but determining, is this text currently bold? Yes, it is. Therefore, give it this data active class, and then I can write a data active class for, what the text color should be. So you get to really interact with the state of the editor and have the toolbar respond in that way as well. And if you've not done this before, like I hadn't until yesterday, it really makes you start to think about a class of UI problems that you've probably just taken for granted for the last 30 years. And I've never really thought about what is it like to format text and how should those buttons behave. So let's go back. Now I have an input here. So the state that I currently have now is I have my form just like before, but I have a stringified bit of JSON is going to be the value here. So if I write another comment, Sanity.io, here is an important comment. So let's just send all bold text because I really need to make a point here. We can see the value that's been written. I've written a string again, which is not useful. And actually, if I go back to my studio here and open up comments, you'll see that I have successfully written just a string of portable text. I haven't written the actual data. So we do need to update our server action as well. Is it a server action? A form action? Form action, I think it should be called. So I'm going to be a little lazy here and say that this comment, it is no longer a string. So it actually is going to be an array. I don't really want to go through the process of setting up an object. An object has a key and a type, and it can have a lot of other things as well. I know I should do it better than any, but it should be a record or something like that. Is there record? No, there's not. So ZAny is going to do the job. But what we need to do here is this comment. This is the value that we've just written. That's that JSON stringified version of the portable text standard. What we need to do here is JSON pass that to a string. So the comment now, we can actually get that value back. We can pass that comment string. And what we have now, as well as some more TypeScript errors because we haven't rerun TypeGen since I changed the schema. I probably should have done that immediately. Goodness me, let's clear out the terminal because it's a mess. So I've got TypeGen already configured to look over the schema, look over the queries. So now it's going to update the fact that comment actually should be portable text array. It doesn't need to be a string. So that's taken away my TypeScript errors because I had the wrong type for the comment that I was writing. So that's excellent. I'm going to delete this document here because we don't really want to hang on to that really ugly one. So let's go back here, and is the live content API going to update my component there? Or is it saved in a client state? Ooh, I bet I need to do some extra state management work. This is why I don't like saving those comments into state here, because now I'm responsible for keeping that updated. Okay, so refresh got rid of that. Excellent. So now let's write this once again. So Simeon at sanity.io. Whoa. Received array. Expected array received string. Why did I get a Zod error there? I didn't submit anything. Comment. JSON pass comment to string. I don't even know why it passed that at all. It shouldn't have done anything. Let's go back down and Simeon at sanity.io. Add some text. So it's not bulletproof at the moment. We've got a rendering error on the front end, and this is good news because it means we successfully wrote portable text to the back end. And we can prove this by going back to the studio and seeing, here's that document that I just created, and it has bold text, which means the structure of the document, comment's not a string anymore. Comment is portable text. It's an array of objects. And so our front end is trying to render an array of objects, and it can't do that. So not only do we need to use the portable text editor for that text input, we need to use the portable text renderer to show that content. So let's go to the comment timeline component. And we can see here where I was previously writing the string, and even I've got a TypeScript error here because you can't just render an array like this. So let's get rid of that and say portable text. And so this is the component that renders portable text, and the value is going to be the comment.comment. Great name. And I'm guessing that's going to say because it potentially is null. Let's just make sure that it exists. Great. So let's refresh the page now. And if we go down to our comments once again, there we go. So we are now rendering our rich text as well. We're rendering our portable text. We're not rendering these other comments because they just had strings. I could do a, if type of string thing there and get that rendered out. It's not really important at the moment, but this should now work. I've got all of this end to end. And before I do this, I'm going to show this on full screen. Really, to do this justice, we need to see the whole thing work at the same time because the studio is real time and so is our front end now as well. So let's say Simeon is going to leave a comment. And it is a very important comment. And let's actually add a link as well to this. So we've got some pretty structured and rich data here. I'm going to post my comment. We see our optimistic UI updated immediately. We see the text has appeared in the studio immediately. We do have a broken preview, which I can fix as well. But here we have our document. We are writing portable text on the front end. We are sending that to Sanity Studio, which renders correctly. We are then rendering that portable text on the front end. We've got it front to back. It's portable text all the way down. Let's go and fix that comment type preview because it's trying to render the comment at the beginning there. That would just be a matter of saying, let's just say like the name of the person is the title. And we could say that instead of trying to render the comment itself, let's get the post, let's get the post title. This is some sort of busy work that we don't actually need to really engage in, but I can't leave it there in such a broken state. I need to show that I can actually get something really great. There we go. We fixed the comments preview in the studio, and we have this working here. And that's it. There's really not much more to do. If I had thousands of those existing comments, I'd go and run the migration tooling on them to change all those existing strings into portable text as well. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with where I've landed. I have optimistic UI on the front end, which is great. I have the portable text editor to write rich content and even block content if I wanted to have it into Sanity Studio, which renders within its portable text editor. And then I'm able to render those individual comments with the portable text rendering component. If there's anything else you'd like to see, let me know in the comments or any more details that you'd like. But I'm sure there'll be more content to come on how to set up this text editor because it's just too much fun.